When it comes to home ownership, there's always the question of, hey, should we just build a house? Because I feel like there's a lot of new builds happening, or should we buy an existing one? Well, turns out there are pros and cons to both. So today we're going to talk about what you need to think through if you are considering building a house or buying an existing home and figuring out what's best for you and your family. Now, before we jump in, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. All right. Now, when you talk about home ownership, again, the housing market still is pretty crazy. I feel like it's leveled out a little bit, but there's a lot of opinions out there about when to buy a home, what kind of home to buy. And so I think understanding, okay, we are going to go and buy a home when you are in that position financially, figuring out what is best for you to go and build something or to buy an existing home. Winston and I, we have done both. We have bought an existing home and the current home we're in, we built. But to give you an idea, kind of what we're thinking, let's break it down, the pros and cons. We'll start with building. So a pro to building, probably the most obvious that most people love is that you get to make a lot of decisions. So you get to customize, possibly the floor plan, the finishes, the fixtures. You really get to go in, and depending on the type of development that you're, building in, the builder themselves, all of that, there can be a lot of decisions that you get to make, or down to you get to pick a floor plan that they have that's already existing. But the idea that you kind of get to put some touches of what you like, from colors to finishes, all of that's really fun. And you kind of get to create your own. I see that as a major pro. Also, most of the time it is less maintenance than an older home. So some brand new homes, some of them, they've gone up really fast and people find that they have a lot of issues. But if it's a really well-built home, then you're going to have new things like appliances, roof, HVAC. And again, they should be able to last you for the next, multiple years ahead, and you're not feeling like you have to go and change it out like if it's an older home. Also, low energy costs. So new homes, it should have the latest energy efficient systems. So you possibly are paying less when it comes to your bills in that way. Now the cons. Number one is the price. And this is probably the biggest con to consider because on average, it costs $150,000 more to build a new house. And some of those, factors really are hidden costs when it comes to upgrades, unforeseen problems, post-move costs. The thing about building that people always say is it's usually going to cost way more than you think, and it's going to take longer than you think. So remembering that, it can get really, really expensive really fast. So you have to be very diligent on your budget. Also, no negotiations. So unlike buying an existing home, there's not a lot of flexibility when it comes to closing costs or the purchase price of the home, what they're building and what the builder and how they make their money. It's pretty much just set in stone. Also, the wait. It could take a year to build a new home and have everything planned out, right? So it's the planning, the approvals, the construction, all of it. So it can take a lot longer to do that. And so if you are in a position where you don't have that time, that can definitely be a con. Now, a quick side note, if you're thinking about buying a home and that's kind of stressing you out, it might be time to start eliminating some stresses in your life in other areas. And that is one reason I recommend Delete Me. Delete Me gives you peace of mind when it comes to protecting your personal information online. And if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard out there. Your name, your address, even your kids' names, your email, all of those things, all of that information is out there on sketchy data broker websites. And they go and collect your data and then they sell your data, and that puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the good news is that Delete Me removes your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So you guys, your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9. Or you can click the link in the description. All right, we've covered the building side, right? The pros and the cons. Now let's talk about buying an existing home. So the pro is the price. Again, building a home is going to be more expensive usually than buying an existing home. And most of the time, buying an existing home is going to be cheaper. Plus, you can negotiate a lower price and even some repairs with the seller. There's more on your side there. Also, there's a quicker close. Usually you can close in 30 to 60 days. And if you have a deadline that you need to be moving, that's usually a really good option. Also is location. So by saving money on the house itself, you may be able to buy in a more expensive or desirable neighborhood or, where you are in the city, because you're going to be able to say, hey, there's some savings here. Maybe we can get in a better area with an existing home. All right, let's talk about the cons. Number one is repairs. As homes get older, they're going to need more repairs, obviously. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, older homes, especially those built before 1950, tend to cost significantly more to maintain. So major repairs, think about a new roof or a water heater, like all of those can be really costly. And according to Home Advisor, the average new roof costs around $6,200 to $8,400. So sometimes insurance can get in there, but also it can be really tough. And then we have seen with older homes, you have to be on the lookout for mold, lead paint, all of that. So just being aware, but your inspection hopefully will cover most of that. Also, you might have to face compromises. This is a con to buying because you're not building something from the ground up that you have all the control over. You're buying something existing. So it's probably not likely that you're going to find a house that checks all of your boxes. You're probably going to have to settle for a couple of things. So just remembering that. Lastly is updates. Obviously, if the house is outdated, you're going to have to put your style, your renovations in, which can cost more. So be thinking about that ahead of time. So if you're still not sure whether you should buy or build, that's okay. Look at your options. That's the thing that gives me power always when I'm thinking about something. See multiple options. So if there's a lot and you're like, maybe we should buy the lot and build on it later, maybe look at a couple of lots when you're looking at building, or different neighborhoods. Or if there's a house, look at different existing homes out there. Have your options, because I promise things will start to you'll look at the pros and cons list, and quickly you'll figure out what is best for you guys. But when you are financially ready to buy, it is so fun. This is a fun part of life. When you get to be a homeowner, it's great. And I think, again, it can be very, very stressful in so many ways. So options give you power. Just remember that. Now, if you still want to learn more, make sure to check out the Real Estate Home Base. And this is going to give you so many resources when it comes to financing and buying, even selling your home. So make sure to check that out. And if you want to keep learning on what mistakes to avoid when selling, then keep watching my next episode, 5 Mistakes to Avoid When Selling Your Home. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, I will leave a link below. All right, you guys, as always, make sure to take control of your money and create a life you love.